Scunthorpe United relegated to the National League North. I'll let those words just land with you and sink in. Scunthorpe United have dropped to the 6th tier of English football.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
They've done it! They've done it! It's Maguire Drew! They've done it again, this team!
What a magnificent piece of football! Really, really good goal! You can't legislate for that! Grimsby are heading back to the Football League!
Love it. Good evening, everybody. Bruce is already in celebrate. Bruce, you didn't even get to listen to it because you'd only just joined. So, just in case you missed it,
North.
it won't work.
Scunthorpe United relegated to the National League North. I'll let those words just land with you and sink in.
Gets into your soul, doesn't
Scunthorpe
it?
United have dropped to the 6th tier of English football.
Thank you, Matt, for those wonderful words. I assume we're all shocked to our very core. We did try and get our good friend Flat Caps and Bovril on, who's a big Scunny fan. He said, and I'm quoting verbatim, I couldn't think of anything worse. I love you, man, but jog the fuck on, which is fair. Scunny will be playing Kilby United and Caister under 23s and Humberthurm and Discoveries, I guess, next season. I'm not really sure how it works. Do they have to play the ship in, Bruce? They used to be half decent Sunday League team.
I think they're in the division above, mate.
Oh, are they? What? Ship in?
Yeah. I think the ship. I think the ship a division above. But yeah, no, it's. I'm not sure I'll ever get over this day. To be honest, it's sad, isn't it?
Rub it in. Sam, how are you? You look perfectly happy. Sad day.
Sad day, yes. I want to kind of pass on my condolences to North Lincolnshire football. I mean, was it ever alive, really? But now
You've got a decent team. Barton and Tasty. Winston are all right.
In all seriousness, Gainsborough Trinity are in the playoffs, aren't they? In the league above, so they could get their GCFC derby next year.
Well, it'll matter to them. They can have Kevin Van Veen come on.
The Peter Swan or Luke Waterfall derby, depending on how you want to spin it.
The Ginger Pig Boogaloo.
I tweeted this morning saying that I wanted Oldham Town and Notts County to win. And I got 2 of my 3 wishes. So yeah, I've got to go back to bloody work tomorrow. But apart from that, all is pretty well.
That's interesting because obviously, Wrexham and Notts County played today, and that was great. And you wanted Notts County. I've got no problem with Wrexham fans. I mean, the whole media loving is a bit there, but
so, what it is actually, it to me, it's quite personal. So when I was kind of down, when I was it?
Hang on. Was it the Paul Mullin boots, Sam? Was that what it was?
I would be lying if I said that wasn't a contributing factor. It's all my kind of. So I, from university and at work and so on, I've got lots of friends who like football, and all of them are kind of saying, "Come on, Wrexham, what a great story!" And then it really crystallised me the week we beat Luton in the cup. And I said, "Oh, did you? Oh, you had a good result, didn't you, against Luton?" And 2 or 3 people came up to me and went, "Wasn't it a shame that Wrexham went out?" I was like, "No, it wasn't. They went out. We went through." And as a result of that kind of building, just like, I've had enough of them. I don't want to play them next season. And as a result, and Notts County is a much better away day, much better away day, much more fun. I've never seen us lose at Meadow Lane in 7 or 8 visits. It's much rather they come up than Wrexham.
Hannah, I think it was the boots. How are you? Great to have you on.
Hello.
It's definitely the boots, Sam.
Yeah, definitely the boots. Although I agree, I'd much rather see another local team back, good away day. But then again, the best away day I've ever had was Wrexham. So
yeah, and let it be the last time we ever have to go to Wrexham. It could be like kind of upheld as some kind of paragon of away days, and it like remain as this untouched perfection.
yeah,
You're tipping us for promotion, are you, Sam, for next season?
have they still not won? Have they still only won since us? There, is that still a stat?
Apart from against United, Sheffield United in the cup, yes, I think that is true.
There you go then.
Stephen McDade came in and said, I wanted Town, Oldham and Dorking to win just to send Yeovil down. Stephen, I don't know if you've had a check, but check our Twitter feed, because the Yeovil owner has just gone on an incredible tirade and has absolutely rinsed the manager. It is well worth digging up. Go on our Twitter account. It is brilliant. He's basically just lambasted the manager, saying we've bought him this player, this player, this player. He didn't want Scott Pollock, but now quite likes him. It's a bit of a shame they got Scott Pollock over us, but it's well worth looking at. You'll enjoy it.
Sorry, can we push back against that? If we'd wanted Scott Pollock would not have signed for Yeovil.
That's true, but I don't know. Maybe work in progress. I think he'd been a half decent outlet in the last couple of games, and we should really, at least some point, talk about them. Do we want to talk about Saturday or Good Friday? Sorry,
I'll be brave enough to give it.
You were the paragons of positivity, though, Sam. So I don't think your reflections are of the people, which is not the first time. But
my reflections are more of the people, according to the most recent democratic mandate offered to Parliament.
On Paul Hurst. Go on then. So, what were your thoughts on it?
I'm going to make some kind of observation. I'm happy for you to kind of throw you're talking a load of shite, Sam, as you usually do. To be fair, so I'm not bothered about that. My controversial take is I thought we actually played better on Friday than we did today. I thought for the first half today we were awful, and on Friday we were awful in the first half. But when we equalised, got the goal, we were all over them. Looked like the second was a kind of inevitability. Mishi gives a daft penalty away. You can argue whether it's outside the box. It's a daft penalty, whether you like it or not. And that's a big thing for me to criticise Mishi Effete.
My heart fluttered then when you were being critical of him.
And after that, we capitulated, and you'd say that's unlike a Hurst team, but it has happened once or twice too many times this season. But actually, for sort of 15, 20 minutes, we played much better football than we did do today. But the kind of 7 or whatever it was minutes of madness has really, really costed, and that kind of, for me, crystallises the kind of inadequacies and deficiencies in our team, which are we're competitive, we're energetic, we're hard to beat almost all the time, but not exclusively. But we really lack a killer instinct when the game's there for us and it's happened. You can probably chart 20 points we've cost ourselves as a result of a lack of cutting edge.
Well, can I just sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt to stop you, but to bring a point that you were talking about.
I've talked to lots of fellas.
So you were talking about Town's season, like the heavy defeats we've had this season.
So right, Salford and Swindon.
Yeah, hang on. Well, what I was going to say was when we lost to Salford, which was 4-1, that was Hurst's biggest league defeat as sole manager, beating Hartlepool 3-0 before he left for Shrewsbury, and then in 2021 we lost to Scunny, Cambridge, and Morecambe 3-0. We hadn't lost any greater than that until this season, and we've had Cambridge, Salford. Cambridge. My apologies. Swindon, Salford, and on Friday as well. Which is, I know he's saying that they're all tuckered out, but is a pretty damning thing. Bruce, Hannah, you guys were there. What was the feeling within the bonhomie of the pontoon and the lower? Sorry, Bruce.
I honestly, first half, it was just boring. I took my friend on Friday, and we were both sat there like, but we just want to see something. Then obviously we saw a lot of goals in the end, but it was just so boring first half. My friend, she's a Tottenham fan, she actually singled Efforty out before the pen as being our best player, which I thought was really strange. But yeah, it was not a great game to be at. Probably the worst game I've attended this season, I would go as far as to say.
Damning. Bruce, what about you? And then we can move on to, happier notes, I guess.
I thought you got the team wrong on Friday. I thought Khan and Lloyd were never going to work up front, just the two of them. It just didn't. I don't know. It just did not against League Two defenders. And like the other two have said, after half time it got better with the changes, but we just made individual mistakes and then fell apart. We left after 72 minutes when the fourth went in. So don't ask me for any information after that.
Okay, that's fair. That was, perfect. Then I thought we were just shit. It was just shit. And I'll start today's win with one thing that I usually really like Paul Hurst's interviews because he tends to see the same game I do, and so I know I'm not losing my mind. But when he did an interview with Scott of This Parish, he said that he thought that we had matched Donny today up until their goal. And I thought that was not necessarily true. They scored in the first half. They hit the woodwork as well, didn't they? And I think we had a ball. I think they had the ball cleared off the line, or there was a little bit of a scramble in our box. So I was surprised at that. I thought Donny were the better team, and I thought they had it controlled. I thought they were, time wasting from the second minute onwards. But for a team that are in such poor form from Doncaster, I wasn't taking much from today's performance other than we got a win, and it was nice for the fans who sounded absolutely incredible. I got to say, on Telebobs, that it was they got what they thoroughly deserved. You guys were have far better understanding of what happened. You were there, so take it away.
Let's pick on what you said about the fans. Actually, I thought whether it was around me, just generally, or whether it was just around me specifically, or whether it was more generally. I thought that Town fans were more restless today than I've heard them. I've heard us since the pre-COVID days, actually, because we obviously weren't there during COVID, and last season there wasn't really much of an opportunity apart from I wasn't at some of the awful away games in the south in the winter. More restless, getting more frustrated and more angry even with certain individuals, certain decisions that the manager was making. Particularly in the first half, it wasn't toxic by any stretch of the imagination, but it was quite uncomfortable at times in terms of how much people were getting on. McAtee was coming in for a lot of stick around me. Again, that might just be around me. Well,
I think that's a general consensus of Twitter as well, like, in terms of a fair few, and myself included. I don't think we have not got the same McAtee we had, and I'd be interested to know what the opinions are.
McAtee was shit today. We improved when he went off, but he seemed to be being singled out, and I thought for 75 minutes we were just awful, full stop. And I do agree with what Hurst, because I thought, sorry, Hannah.
No, sorry, I spoke over you, Sam. I think with McAtee, he plays his best football when the other team get him really angry. I don't know if people have sussed that out, but if they do something to wind him up, he's suddenly absolutely on point. He's firing them in, and you almost want the other team to do that to him, because that is when he's played his best football.
Do you think that's a process of, because there's a lot of conversations now about McAtee being Billy Big Bollocks, not being here, etc. Is it simply down to the fact then that it's a personal thing? Other than that, it's not, and he's not particularly bothered.
I don't know, because there was
reading far too much into it and should just go back to drinking my Coke.
A few weeks ago, there was big critique of him on social media, and I remember the next game he came out and scored. So, yeah, maybe he does need people to get on his back a bit. I don't know.
That's it. More abuse. Sam.
I think the McAtee thing is interesting because somebody had mentioned on Facebook or Twitter after the game, and he came on the pitch. He got substituted, and I watched him, and I wasn't sure what he would be like when he got taken off. But he got his tracky top, and he went and sat down. There was certainly no public hissy fit or anything like that. But at the end of the game, when the players came over, he was the first non-player, if you like, that wasn't on the pitch, celebrating with Lloyd. And that's happy for somebody else and himself as a member of the team. So I don't think that personally I don't think he's doing anything differently than he did previously. Just that he's not in the same form he was, like you say, before he got injured. I don't think. I think he's maybe the things he's trying aren't perhaps coming off that they were before. And obviously he's stepped up a level. I'm not sure that he's championship level, but only time will tell. And good luck to him. But I don't think it's through any lack of trying or him thinking he's a Billy Big Boy. I think he's been like that since he came here.
I don't think it's a lack of trying. He's still chasing lost causes, running down the keepers, giving away. I mean, a big part of his game is running after and giving away daft free kicks where he can never win the ball. But that was the case last season. I think it's just a case of we're not as good relatively as we were relative to the level we're at as we were last season. And he's the sort of player where you've got to be on the front foot and you've got to have wingers bombing beyond him. You've got to have a striker playing. He's the sort of player you've got to build your entire side around to kind of extract the most from him. I agree with Hannah about you've got to get him fired up. And maybe last season he felt he had a point to prove. Maybe there's a little bit this season he doesn't.
But he's in a level above as well. He's not playing the likes of Scunny every week now, is he? He's in a proper league.
And he's playing in a side that isn't as good. I think if he was playing for Leyton Orient or Stevenage, maybe he'd look a better player because he'd have better players around him. Maybe he's not particularly suited to how we are, which is quite sort of like fundamentally conservative.
I thought for the vast part of today we looked, and I thought Hurst's interview, Hurst puts a lot of this down to tiredness, doesn't he? I don't know if any of you listened to his interview after the game, but there's an emphasis on, we want to play nice football, we want to play better, but with the players are trying, they're just not. So either some of them aren't good enough to play the sort of football we want to play, and some of them are just knackered, and you have to keep rotating. So people aren't playing alongside the same players all the time, are they? Taylor came in for a lot of criticism today. I saw both sides of that today because we say we miss Taylor when he's not playing, and today when he's playing, a lot of what we did was trying to just lump it up to him and play off him. And when you've got Emmanuel on the wing, and you've got Glennon who's happy to get forward on the other side, it negates a lot of that for the wing backs because we go down the middle. But it was nice to see.
Danilo caused more problems for their centre half than Taylor did when in the 10-15 minutes he was on. In the 10-15 minutes.
But Hurst also said, in fairness to Taylor, and I don't think, like I say, the front two wasn't effective today at all that started. But Hurst thought that they ran out of legs. We were moaning that we hadn't made any subs up until probably 75, 80 minutes, which was in reality 70 minutes because there was 10 minutes of stoppage time to come always. And actually he brought the players on and he felt that they didn't have the players or they didn't feel they had the players to freshen it up. So Danilo was playing against players that Taylor had tired.
Yeah.
I think when you look at the season as a whole and you say McAtee's not been on form, he's not played much of the season with Taylor, whereas he did obviously play a lot more with him last year. I don't know if that has an impact, but obviously today didn't have an impact.
We've got Orsi and Taylor obviously here. Sorry, Orsi is here next season, and at the moment he's the only one of the current front line. I mean, it depends what you call Khan because he's under contract for another year. But I'd be more than happy to see us sign George Lloyd, and then have another couple of options as well. I think Orsi's done enough that. I'd like to. I don't know actually with Orsi. In the cup, he's done well. I don't think he's ever let us down when he's come on, but he's not going to be a player, I don't think, that scores you. I know he has scored in the past a lot of goals, but he doesn't at the moment look like a player that's going to score you 15 plus goals in a season. but he might make a younger version of the Taylor role, and prove his worth. Because I know he said in an interview a couple of weeks ago that just because you're under contract, it doesn't mean that you'll be here next year. So he's obviously got a couple of people in mind. I'm not sure with Horsey. I was going to say that I want him here. I think he's got something about him. I wouldn't be unhappy if it was Horsey, Lloyd, and then a couple of other new options up front. One of them being what we would hope would be an out-and-out goal scorer.
When you don't factor contracts in, I think I'd much rather give Taylor another year and have him not as one of the main two, perhaps, but he's a threat when he comes on, and he's sometimes teams set up in a certain way that you need someone like him, not only for his physical appearance, but for his knowledge and how he reads the game as well. So I think as long as he wasn't counted on to be like a main option, I think he'd be a good one to sign again. And he'd probably be quite cheap.
There's no question that he can still hack it at this level. It's just a case of how many games you need to get out of him at 35. And with Horsey under contract, if you want to sign Lloyd, is there not enough room for Taylor? I'd keep Taylor for another year for the same reasons that you state, Hannah, but whether we can, given the circumstances, I don't know. Frankly, I think you need to sign Lloyd and then sign 2 more strikers this summer. That's my view.
Yeah, we need the guy that we've been saying for months that we need. We need that guy still, the big number 9, the Bogle or whoever it may be. We need that person. That has to be a priority.
Effie Young.
And then if we're talking about a big strong League Two player, then that probably means we're not going to keep Taylor, because that player we're describing is going to be a goal scoring version of Ryan Taylor.
And I'm not as passionate as Ollie is here, where he says I'm not sure what Taylor's good at anymore. Barely wins anything in the air. I think he's struggling in the air since his return. And I don't know. We've had this conversation where he's had this big injury, his first one of his career, I think. I just don't. We're looking at we're keeping 3 of the strike force at the moment, none of which have hit double figures this season. Which is,
Lloyd would given a full season, I think, with better players.
I don't think I would keep Taylor. I think he's been a really good player over the last couple of years for us, but I think that he would be on a vastly reduced wage, which would probably make it not worth his while travelling and commuting. I think he would be able to get, somewhere. I think he travels, doesn't he, from the sort of Sheffield area or somewhere that way on. I think he'd be able to get local football at sort of Scunny's level or above.
You're just loving that at the moment. What you mean? Like he can play for our 5-a-side team. That's about the same.
Sheffield FC or somewhere like that, or Hallam United or Meadowall Rovers.
He could pick up a decent conference side. He could go and sign for somebody like Halifax or York or Altrincham, maybe.
Are you saying we should get a swap deal for Taylor for Manny?
No. Again, you know what I was saying about Wrexham and that kind of untouched paragon of away days? Read the same for Manny Diaz-Sarroué.
I just when we're looking at it, I think Lloyd and Horsey to me seem very similar players. 2 busy players who are diminutively not physically, physically diminutive, and that but are decent with a touch. And I think they're both the same player. I think you have one or the other. You don't have both.
And it's Lloyd.
And I think you then bring in a big ass target man, a poacher, and someone who can, run at more than 20 miles an hour.
Sam, is your flat next to a railway line?
No, I'm at Mum and Dad's. I'm in East Yorkshire.
Well, can you get them? Well, there's some noise in the background there that needs sorting out.
What are you talking about?
Can't you hear that? When he mutes, there's a background noise that disappears, isn't there?
It must be me making that noise because it's dead quiet here.
I think you need to ring the doctors.
I think Bruce hears the promotion train behind you, Sam.
No, can you seriously not hear that when he mutes and unmutes? Listen. Right, unmute, Sam.
Ever so slightly. You must have very good hearing, Bruce.
Yeah, that's very slight.
My hearing's crap, but I've got the AirPods in.
It's not as bad as Jim. When Jim comes on, it's like, I don't know, and I can only apologise for the audio content. I need to get him a microphone if he comes on.
I saw Jim. I saw Jim today. He was all right. I saw lots of friendly faces. To be fair, it was one of those days where, the regulars are all there and the bouncy boys were underneath the stand before the game. It was good. Apart from everyone got soaking wet.
That's true. John Lilly says Glennon's been poor recently. Do we keep him? What are your thoughts on Glennon? I'm quite happy to start picking them apart a bit.
I really like Glennon, but then I really like Amos. So
maybe that's just sorted.
I just like them both. I think they're both great. They have different skill sets, and Glennon, he's probably got most assists or up there anyway. So he's very valuable to have.
Maybe he's feeling it. The left backs and the right backs are the ones that are, most likely feeling the work rate and the games more than anyone, aren't they? Because they have to get up and down those wings pretty good. Fete included, Sam.
I was going to talk about Glennon, and I think Glennon's still a relatively young lad. He's not actually played that much league football in between his 2 stints with us. He's got more quality in his left boot than most of the rest of the squad put together. His delivery is second to none, perhaps only beaten by Emmanuel, but if we talk about next season here, I don't think Emmanuel really counts because he won't be here. So he's on a 2-year contract. I think the question, if he was asking, does Danny Amos stay, is does Hurst think he can do better than Glennon? So if he thinks he can do better than Glennon, then I'd release Danny Amos. But if he thinks Glennon is the man to take us to the next level, then I think you retain Danny Amos, because you're not going to get a much better, fitter, harder working, solid, energetic left back stroke left wing back than Amos at this level.
Dave says Glennon would be a lot better if we had a 6-foot+ striker who can make it into the box for a cross. And I can't disagree with that. I think these last few games have shown there's quite a lot that we need to concentrate on. And I think if, I would park left back and go, right, that's sorted. I would have both of them over the late Tom Newey, not the early Tom Newey, and pretty much anyone else we'd had in left back for a while, apart from 2016.
Just going back to Glennon, though, Hannah, I don't know if you were at Bradford, Bruce, but Glennon had a nightmare in the second half at Bradford, didn't he? So he's not without blemish.
And Matoma worked him out, but I'm not sure that counts.
Matoma caused my second favourite right back in the world, like any number of problems. So,
Simon, I agree with this. Bruce's subtle product placement isn't getting less subtle. I'm going to get phone calls from Will. It's like, it's all very well and good saying Doc Spears in the top left-hand corner, but you've got Cronenberg, middle and front.
We're not exclusive. We will sell out to the highest.
Oh yeah, we had that random fishing podcast on for a bit that earned us 16 quid that we'll buy a bag of chips for. Hannah is sponsoring the podcast by giving us a mobile studio at some point from Auto Trail. That counts, Hannah.
I'd rather have a motorhome.
Yeah. Well, I keep pushing for Hannah that we should have like a DN35 on tour. When we go to Germany, we should do vlogs and just all stay in a 6-berther or something.
And if we're all playing this game,
we should use it for the season, though, shouldn't we? For away days.
Do you know what? It'd be great. It would be absolutely great, but 6-berthers, right? To get in the top, you have to climb over those on the bottom, and it is a bit fiddly.
Are you trying to say that some of the pod contributors are not the fittest? Is that what you're trying to say, Hannah?
No, I'm saying that some may trample others.
And that's how I want this podcast to work.
Mike and Alex are going at the bottom.
That's rude. I'm not having that. It'll go over the cliff. But yeah, no, it'll be good. Let's do that. Hannah, order one in. It'll be great. Go do Germany.
We must be able to get it on trial or something for like
Could you imagine?
9 months.
We would like a test drive for 3 weeks. Can I take it abroad?
Yeah, Mr. Fenwick, this motorhome's due a service, and you've done 2,500 miles in 3 weeks. Well, we are Grimsby fans.
Yeah. We have to just do our regular away trips.
It'd be like something from bloody Top Gear if we're rolling.
It'll be like that one, when the truck is on fire, we just hand it back to Hannah. See you later. She's Hannah's left the group.
Hannah's left the group and never speaks to any of us ever again.
Fools and horses, wouldn't it be like the coach at Margate? You know, sort of there'll be you on the phone to your missus, and you'd be like, Bruce and Sam have just got off the and it's on fire, and we've got to take it back to Hannah. We've got to take it back to Hannah tomorrow.
And there's me going to Bruce. Don't worry, I won't tell your boss, Bruce. It's all.
Yeah. Have you had a nice day? Oh, it was going great. Yeah. Oh, and the Kent police constable on your phone to see if you lived here.
Johnny's trying to. Yeah, sorry.
We can put it down to the latest Tory scandal.
Yeah, exactly.
What Tory scandal? We're free of scandal now. It's all sorted.
It's that little sign, 0 days since our last accident. John is trying to pull us back to the football. He's saying, looking likely that Clifton's going. I keep hearing he's going to Sheffield Wednesday or somewhere. We need to sign a replacement. We need to sign a replacement, as in my opinion, it's Morris this week. I'll be honest, John. I don't want Morris here next season. I think he's been very disappointing. I tell you what, I can hear from Sam's. I can hear the clock from The Shining in the background.
Oh, you mean you mean this?
Yeah. That's loud. That's louder than most Scunny away days. That is
right. All right. Problemo.
There we go. There we are. Andrew Niles says Glenn and Lane must look better when Clifton is in front of them. Funnily enough, that's interesting. I hadn't noticed that. I don't know if either of you had.
Yeah, I'd noticed it.
Oh, good.
No. Do you think Clifton would go to Wednesday if they were in the Championship? No. I'm not sure he's a Championship level player.
I like the idea of McAtee and Clifton facing off against each other in the Championship.
I think to be fair, they'd probably be closer to each other on the bench.
I'm not sure he's a League One player. I go against the grain with Harry Clifton a little bit. I mean, he works really, really hard. He's got a fantastic engine and loads of heart, and has scored a lot of important goals this year. But he's not got the quality to play in the Championship or even League One for me. I mean, you can push back against that if you like, but I don't really see where it comes. This is a real if he wasn't a Grimbarian, people wouldn't be saying about he's a level above us. I don't think.
He
really.
I think. He's our best player, hands down.
Yeah.
I think he could 100% play League One. 100%.
He's our Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
He absolutely is. Like, I'm really surprised at that, because he definitely isn't the most talented footballer in the world. Absolutely. But it completely and utterly is put into his shadows compared to the hard work and commitment he puts in. And maybe we only get that out of him because he's a Grimsby guy and he's playing for Grimsby and it's some subconscious thing. But I think our levels really do go down when he doesn't play. And that's coming from me, who this time last year said we're not winning league. We're not getting out of league, the National League, with Harry Clifton playing most of our games.
I mean,
you're right. He goes for balls no one else would even bother, and wins some of them. He goes for tackles people wouldn't bother, and wins quite a lot of them. To be fair, he's useful. He's versatile, and yeah, it does help that he has the passion for the town. But I think he's that type of character that's going to have that passion wherever he plays. I just think that's how he is mentally.
He's got my vote for player of the season this year.
He's really good. He's really good at winning cheap free kicks as well. Waterfall is the right vote for player of the season.
I mean, it works. Let's go through. Everyone's coming in. I like this. We've actually started talking about players, so people actually come and give us an opinion. Maybe this is what we should have done from the beginning of the season. What is that noise?
We're going a bit fishy here, aren't we? Deciphering every player.
I don't mind. It's fine. We never do it. Gemma Ho says all these players scraped into the playoffs. Now they're all Maradona. Fair enough. Ollie says thought similar to Sam on Clifton the start of the season, but he's proven himself. Ricky says every good team has a player like Harry Clifton, works hard, plays numerous positions, and I think Harry Clifton is the sort of player. I was going to say he's the sort of player, if he plays you don't get relegated, but I think we did get relegated last season, but won. But he's the sort of player that let hands at standard. Nobody had a good game today till the subs came on. I agree. And someone very quickly up at the top here, and I'm going to include me in this because I was slightly annoyed at Hurst. He said, where are we? Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Jack Griffin said, "Sup, boys, Hannah. Wonder if any of the Andy Hurst will give him credit today. Got his sub spot on. He absolutely did, Jack. The question is, though, did he get his starting lineup right?
Well, they got it wrong on Friday.
Yeah,
I
he
think we can all
definitely got it
agree
wrong
on that.
Friday. Yeah, that's a good question. That I was very peed off at the defeat on Friday, given it was a sellout, and it was, a sellout. Never really get a sellout at Blundell Park, and I don't think that's the sort of game you tinker with. You go for it, and they're second bottom. I was disappointed.
I'm not
We've
sure
been playing McAtee, Taylor, and Lloyd, haven't we, up front for the last couple of games, and they petered out. They petered out in the second half at Bradford, but before that, it looked quite good, and you're thinking, here we go. But I think he needs to. He said that he'll make changes and he'll try things, and he's they were saying today that we're still not technically safe, but we are. So I wouldn't mind if he didn't. I think he'll want to play. It's difficult because he'll want to get points, won't he, and finish as high as we can. But I wouldn't mind seeing Corey given a bit of a go. I don't see any of the other youngsters that are currently. They're all out on loan for the rest of the season, I think, pretty much, aren't they? So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. But like you say, I didn't like him tinkering and messing about when we'd got a full house, because the home fans haven't exactly been royally entertained this season. I think we've got the joint lowest number of wins in the whole division, and we're going to start asking people to buy season tickets in the next couple of weeks. So, what's your last memory? I actually think the season tickets, I've said before, I think we'll be okay. We might lose a few, but I don't think there'll be the massive drop off for the same reasons that there weren't this year. I think as long as they don't put it up too much, people know about the.
Is that me or Bruce?
No, he's gone.
That's Bruce.
I'll tell you something while he's not here. I'll wait for him to come back on cam. I agree with that in terms of the season tickets not being that bad. I wonder if it will kind of be met with people as well who are slightly concerned that they can't get a decent seat without getting the season ticket now, and such will actually gamble on getting one.
I suppose the cup run this year's proved why you need one almost, because there was a lot.
Because we're going to make the quarterfinals of the FA Cup again.
Just
it'll
big
make people
matches
think.
in general.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I do agree. I'm just being flippant.
But yeah, I don't. We've missed a fair few through illness, holidays, not being able to get childcare, those sorts of things. But I don't think it would ever cross our mind not to have one.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, even I was contemplating getting one for the podcast, so we've all got a ticket to get.
Daniel's... It would make my life easier, Hannah, because I've still got one this season, despite the fact that I've moved to London in September. But if it was the same situation as last season, and next year I'd have to pay a full rate as well, because I was still 22, so I qualified for the younger one. I'd almost think about chucking 300 quid at it, but if it's going to kind of go out a little bit, and my seat, as I view it, is available, it does not get sold. I bet it's down as restricted viewing, my seat, actually, in the main stand. I wouldn't buy one, and would just kind of buy them immediately as they become available on the thing. But I think if they put them up too much, they risk a big issue. I mean, there's one part of me that says you can't, on the one hand, complain you're not signing a decent striker, and then on the other hand moan that your season ticket prices have gone up. That's one part of my intellect, but the other one is we've won four.
Did you know that when the club get the season ticket money, they don't get it all in one go? They get it given to them on a monthly basis. I don't know if anyone else was aware of that. I just assumed they got a massive lump sum and then they had to budget accordingly. They don't. The club, the company that keep the money for the season tickets, gives it to them sort of on a sort of a 10-month, 12-month eke out, which is quite interesting. So, they can't put it all on Bitcoin. Let's have a quick... So, just chase up with everyone. Daniel Lewis says, Holohan or Clifton. I assume this is for player of the season. Flip of the coin. Clifton nicks it with goals. Dave, I'm going to especially mention you because you say I'm great. Clifton behind the front two next season. I never saw this until Alex said it, but would drop McAtee and try it now, or see Lloyd and Clifton just behind. I think that's quite entertaining. And then you can see what he's trying to do.
I don't think you're getting promoted from League Two with Orsi, Lloyd, and Clifton as your front three.
No, Jack says, coming back to me on whether he got his first 11 right today. No, he didn't, but he made the right choices during the game when it mattered. Absolutely. Tacklebury says, I'm still annoyed by Friday. Fair enough. I mean, we all are a little bit. Carl says, howdy. Howdy, Carl. Danny Kate says, we've got a back four under contract for next season and most of the midfield, but only one striker, Orsi. We definitely need to improve, but need to move early for strikers. Would like to see us try and re-sign Lloyd. I think we get our best players early, and I'm trying to think.
And he can do it this summer because he's got a full close season, and he hasn't got the rest of him getting 6 weeks head start on him.
And he knows what,
And he knows the league after a year, and he's got the cup run money, and he's more established in the league. He's in such a better position this summer, and even as you know, I'm one for making excuses or explanations for Hurst. Even I'll run out of excuses if he doesn't sign something this summer.
And the players know the club better as well with the exposure that we've had.
Yeah, good point, Bruce.
I think that's great. Hayley, Eva Cox, congratulations, by the way, from last week, Hayley. For me, Hunt needs a run in the team, and I think we need to create opportunities. Clifton's work rate is 200% for the team, and I feel we lose him. I would start subs within the next game, Lloyd, Orsi, and change the game. Jack says, couldn't believe we won today. It went absolutely mental when Lloyd scored. And John Lilly says, I think it's 5,000 season tickets max. Feels that the feel-good factor has gone. I hope not. It's a bit weird to think the FA Cup quarterfinal is so weird because because this season has been, some of the performances have been quite poor. At home, we've been poor. I've said as long as we finish, 13th and above, I think we've hit what we need to achieve this season. But it doesn't mean that it hasn't been incredibly enjoyable from start to finish. It will be sad if the feel-good factor has gone. And I agree with you, Sam, where after the game on Friday, up until today as well, I think if we'd have lost tonight, it would have been toxic. If we'd have lost today, I think it'd have been hell.
I might have made an excuse to not come on tonight if we'd lost today, because I just wouldn't have been able to bear it, really. But no, good fun. Looking forward to a whole season next year of having the Nishi FS debate every week, Alex. That'll be a good laugh.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we've had, in the last couple of weeks, we've been to Bradford with nothing to play for, and we took how many? 2,200?
Yeah.
We've taken 3,000 today that would have been more. We've had the FA Cup run. Yes, I've not been happy with the home league performances. Generally, we've been all right away. But it's our first season back. We finished 6th last year. I don't personally think that... I know a lot of season ticket holders, and I haven't heard anybody say to me that they're not getting one. I haven't, nobody's made a point of saying, I'm not getting a season ticket next year. I think that around us, I've said it before, there's a lot of young families. Even though we've not been winning, the kids seem to be enjoying it. They're not moaning at the parents. They're sat watching the game. Like I say, I could be wrong, but I would be amazed if we lost any more than 500 season tickets next year.
I keep seeing people tweeting and on the fishy saying we're going to lose a load of season ticket holders. I've read kind of a handful of people saying I am not renewing mine, and even those people, it's a bit like the kind of your mate who says I'm not coming out to the pub tonight, and after a bit of kind of like you are coming, he comes along kind of vibe. So, well,
let's put it. I'll put it out there now. I'm just going to put a poll out on the Twitter podcast. So get on it and answer it.
Yeah, I think a big part is going to be who we sign, and as we've said, if we get someone decent in early, that's just going to kickstart all the sales. It's going to be people are going to be wanting to see good players because let's be honest, last summer we didn't have a big striker that everyone was buying tickets to see.
I'm just putting out. So season ticket holders, are you renewing your season ticket next season? Let's see what they say. Apparently, Tocket is what I wrote.
2 options or 3 options? Yes, no, don't know, or just yes, no?
Yes, no. Don't give people options.
That's it. We don't want anyone sitting on the fence. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Make your decision now. If it's a don't know, it's a no. Daniel Lewis says, I know it's not about us, but Stockport are flying now. Just took for they really are. They've got what they needed there. Look at the strikers they've got, for Christ's sake. And they got Quigley out on loan
at Rochdale. He's not quite as brilliant as we all thought he was in the close season, I don't think.
Haley says, sorry.
Here's a question for everybody. and I've kind of been pushing this recently. Where do we all? We've talked about other individual players. Where do we all stand on Max Crocombe?
I don't stand where you stand.
No, I know you probably. I'm quite an extreme case on this now. I understand, but
I think, I think we look. I think relatively similar to left back in terms of if Hurst can get better, then that's amazing, and I've got no problem with that. And Max can either stay or go. But if we don't get anyone in, I'm not going to be heartbroken, and I'm not going to be massively worried. I think he's out of form a bit, and I think he needs someone to push him, not dissimilar to Maka. But I also agree that he's not. Maka's done, which is sad for me because I really enjoy him as a player. He's a great advocate for the club, but Max Crocombe is not much better than Maka was at the top of his performance. If anything, I think Maka was a little bit better because he could pull off match-winning performances. I'm not 100% sure that Max has done that yet.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hurst definitely can do better. I think it was Ian who brought a stat out saying he was in the bottom 4 keepers in the league for saves or something like that. I think Crocombe last season, outstanding. You know, some of the stuff he did, brilliant. But this season, he's just a bit different, and it probably is the lack of competition. But particularly, really don't like his kicking,
which was random. A massive strength.
It's random at best, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's erratic. My issue with him is he doesn't make any saves. I mean, that save ratio. I mean, there's that sort of, and he made the save at Bradford where he sort of parried it quite sort of weakly into the strikers. I'd be surprised if Hurst doesn't think he can do quite a lot better than Crocombe. I think it might have been you actually, Hannah, who said a few weeks ago he's a different keeper to Hannah, but he's no better, and I agree with that analysis.
To Maka, not to me.
Bruce, what do you think? Danny says he's prone to cramp as well, which is clearly an injury concern.
I've never seen you play goal, Hannah. I couldn't comment.
Yeah, I've never played in goal, so who knows? I'm a bit short.
What do you think, Bruce?
I think he's done all right. No more than all right. If we want to get promoted, then maybe there needs to, I think with goalkeepers at this level, there's probably a lot of goalkeepers that are of a very similar standard. Nobody's going to be the fully rounded, complete goalkeeper. You're not going to get that, or else they wouldn't be playing. It's not like picking up a central midfielder or a big, strong centre back where, there are loads probably playing in non-league that could get away with playing in the league.
Can I put a name there as well for that? Vigoro, who plays for Leyton Orient, who, he's been with Orient for a long time and is now the goalkeeper in the team that's leading the league. Sorry, Bruce, I'll just throw that there.
Yeah, there's a lot of keepers. I mean, like you say, we've talked about Crocombe when he first came in last season, that he was a breath of fresh air compared to what Maka had become. Maka was not the player he had been, and I mean, Crocombe used to started coming out, didn't he? Started coming for his crosses and commanding his area, which we thought was brilliant. But then we've found since then that maybe he's not the shot stopper that Maka was. I still think, you say his kicking's not great. I think he's been asked to play a different kind of game to anything that Maka's ever been asked to kick. I don't think you ever saw Maka try and do those kicks straight direct to the forwards that he's asked to do. I think we generally just got it and we pumped it forward. I don't know. I don't feel I'm really fit to judge a goalkeeper. I don't know how far off top of the table goalkeeper he is. Like you say, I actually think defensively, if we scored more goals, I don't think we're having the Crocombe conversation.
But for me, the goalkeeper and striker are the single biggest positions that you can kind of make a good goalkeeper or a really good goalkeeper at this level could win his 10 or 12 points. It sounds really harsh, this, but I can't remember Crocombe winning us any points this season. I can remember him costing us them, but I can't remember him. Whereas Maka, you could pinpoint like this game, he's dug us out of trouble here, and here. Maybe
no. Ben has just asked, it's a very long shot, but is there a slim chance we could get Henderson on loan again, who started in the Premier League this season?
You can file that one under the same category as the Fabregas rumours, I think. That's it. So a really good goal is 10 or 12 points a season and a 20-25 goal a season striker. But on the striker debate, there are only, I think it's 4 strikers in League Two who have scored more than 14 goals, one of which is Josh Umrah, who may well get relegated from this division. Just to give you an idea of how hard that's going to be to sign this summer.
I think that's to do with the way teams are set up now. 4-5-1 or 4-3-3 now, where the striker plays a pretty solitary role, probably doesn't help with that. And we're sort of, an indictment of that. We've got no player that scored double figures this season, but we've had lots from everywhere. I mean, it helps that we've had like 55 loan players, but it's an interesting way of things. The old 4-4-2 is kind of dead, isn't it? So that whole thing of get the ball to the strikers is.
It wasn't today. When we changed 4-4-2, that's when it all went good.
Yeah, maybe it's reverted back. Daniel Lewis is saying playoff final, he saved us. He certainly saved the last 10 minutes of that game, Daniel. I'll give you that.
Now, he's right.
Ben says never say never.
I remember it was a great save from in the first half when it was 1-0 and Dallas sort of, it got deflected and he sort of saved it up. He kind of managed to correct himself really quickly. So maybe I'm indulging a little bit of revisionism, but I'm thinking pretty ambitiously next season in terms of really challenging towards the serious sharp end of the league. And I don't think Max Crocombe is part of that. Not necessarily. I'd probably keep him. But he needs to either up his game either with a thing or he signs a better goalkeeper.
Sam, are we starting again next season then? Are we getting rid of everybody?
No, I'm keeping. I think Glennon's good.
So Clifton's going. We can get rid of Clifton. No, we can get rid of Crocombe.
We can get rid of Crocombe, yes.
Hang on, let me write them all down. This is going to be a long list, I think.
Didn't you say one of the left backs wasn't very good?
No, that's not what I said at all. What I said is that I think Glennon is good enough. But if Hurst thinks he can do best than Glennon, he should release Danny Amos. If he doesn't, then I'd be taking Danny Amos.
So Amos is gone. What about Waterfall? Keep or go?
Absolutely keep. Definitely good enough to challenge at the top of this league.
What about Fete as a regular right back? Sorry, Alex.
100% Michi Fete is good enough.
What in a League Two winning side?
Yes, with a full rest, a full pre-season, and some confidence, he's one of the best right backs in this division.
Right? How does he buy confidence? Where does he get that from?
He has to just listen to Sam on this podcast every week.
Does he have to go? Does he have to get? Have you got to take
Sam on Twitter, Sam in the group, Sam on the WhatsApp.
Have you got to take Michi to Ibiza for 2 weeks just to talk positive to him?
Every day, Sam's just going to follow him off the team bus, going, "You can do it, Michelle. You can do it." He's going to be running up and down the main stand.
Harry Clifton's good enough. Kieran Green's good enough. Alex Hunt's good enough, given a certain set of circumstances. Otis Khan is good enough. George Lloyd's good enough.
What to win the league?
Yes, in terms, not necessarily to challenge.
So it's all Crocombe's. So it's all Crocombe's fault that we're not right up there.
It's not all Crocombe's fault. Yes, I think Mar is.
Morris.
No.
Morris is gone. Okay, so I've got 4 players gone. Taylor.
You can put me down as not upset with either outcome there.
Okay, I'm going to put that as a no. McAtee's gone, obviously. Who else have we got? Orsey.
To win the league, no chance.
Orsey's gone. Who else are we missing off on here?
Well, he said Khan was the League Two winner, didn't he? He just said
Scannell. Are we keeping Scannell?
On the evidence of that 20 minutes at Crawley, no chance.
Yeah, that's fair. Sorry, go on.
Smith.
Andy Smith, yeah.
He would be, but he won't be here next season, will
he? His interview today was very polite.
Oh, well, what's he said?
He said, so Matt Dean basically asked him, and what about Grimsby? Would you go there next season? And there was such a long pause that Matt Dean went and made a coffee and came back with it. And then he went, there's always an option. And, you never say never. And they've been great for me. And that was it. So I wouldn't expect Smith back this next season.
Well, he's not played that much, has he, in the second half of the season?
So Smith is gone. So this is Sam's burn them list. Max, Clifton, Amos, Morris, Taylor, McAtee, Orsey, Scannell, Smith.
What,
Well,
I
he's
think you said we
gone.
won't. I think you said we won't get promoted with Clifton.
No, I
Yeah,
said
you
not-
did.
No, I said a championship club would not come and bring and throw a load of money at him. That is fundamental. Bloody hell, here we go again. My view's being misrepresented by the left-wing media.
You did say he's not a League One player as well.
Yeah,
I
so he's
said-
not going to get us
so-
up to League Two if he's not a League One player.
So basically, when we have the open top bus tour next summer, somebody needs to push him off the balcony, Sam, because he's not good enough for League One.
Look,
They're not
look,
allowed on the balcony, are they?
I don't know, but where there's a will, there's a way. isn't there?
Underfunded county council can't afford the balcony to be strengthened, which is why they have to stay on the bus.
The reality is, now I've said that, he'll now be the best player in League Two next season, and I'm going
No,
to.
the reason you've said all that, every time they take a shot during the warm up, it's aiming for your head.
We were banging them in the warm up today. I'll tell you what, the shooting in the warm up was quality.
hang on.
today.
There was something down here in 2 seconds. He was saying about Battersby. I'm sorry, sir, if I can't.
It said he couldn't save a thing in the warm up. He didn't even bother to
Yeah,
dive.
Dan Lewis.
Yeah, sorry, I can't find it. I want to go back to Hayley because I keep saying it. So Hayley thanked us for the coverage of the women's team, and again, congratulations to the champions. They are playing at the 23rd of April. The women's team are playing at Blundell Park, so make sure you get down there. I assume the trophy will be there and presented. It'll be great. Ollie says all our best seasons have had some terrible performances. Think back to Halifax away, first time in the National League. I'm thinking of Weymouth away last season. Bromley away. I think our away fans have been fantastic. An advert for the club to other players who wouldn't want to play for Town after seeing us at Southampton, and yet today and at Brighton.
Bradford.
Are you trying to?
We're fantastic at Northampton as well. We're really good at Wimbledon, even though we lost.
You're saying that George Lloyd isn't going to want to go back to Cheltenham. They are pretty loud at Cheltenham.
Are they? What are you thinking of the races?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I did hear that. I've heard about the Cheltenham Roar.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking.
Do the roar.
Have I got any more here? Everyone's bringing in. Richard Sutcliffe says Fetty was poor, makes too many mistakes. Move on. I mean, that's just that's just red to a bull over here. Daniel Lewis says Dallas flick from Cropper. I don't know what's that about. Sorry. No mistakes from Fetty today. Made a few Saturday, says Richard. Richard is just going for it today. Taylor needs to finish plus McAtee. Ben Clayton is saying Cropper.
This Richard guy, Bruce, he's the one who wants to burn them all. I've just kind of listed a load of players who I think are good enough to kind of be part of the kind of a sort of a bulk of sort of 16 or 18 players to win the league next season.
I think you've been very fair. We'll be very good in the Grimsby and District 5-a-side league next season.
That's all the players will have left. I imagine, imagine if Hurst wants to get rid of Afete next season. Sam's hiding him in a laundry basket and just moving him around so he can't find him to tell him. Ben Clayton is saying he's Cropper. I'd have him back tomorrow. I think games like today, it would have been, a hell of a lot more entertaining with Cropper there throwing in a few. Ma tried it again today, but I think we should electrocute him if he tries to even think about it.
Yeah, but I mean, I really like Cropper, but I do think Efforty offers more overall, dare I say.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he does. Yeah, he does. All we want Cropper for is we want Cropper for throwing coach.
Yeah.
That's what we want him for.
Because Mishi's throwings they're just standard right back throw-ins, aren't they? He doesn't have a long one on him. The idea he'd have there was a debate on the Fishy a couple of weeks ago about who offers more, Jordan Cropper or Mishi Fete. Someone compared Mishi Fete to Serge Makofu.
Maybe he just needs to do a bit more,
Bruce
shoulder training.
He needs a couple of weeks for me in Ibiza, as Bruce says. That'll...
I bet you'd get bullied in Ibiza. I can just see it now. I could just see you. You'd end up taking drinks to the bloody rapper.
The only one waiting in the corner for his Merlot to breathe.
Yeah, you'd be swimming around the pool where you would start bollock naked, and you'd be, please give me my trunks back, please.
And Paul Mullin doing it as well.
ended up spending all night buying £8 bloody cocktails for this group of kind of girls or whatever. I'd just who then just leave at the end of the night without even a thank you. The sort of thing that would happen to me.
With your phone. yeah. I don't know where I'm staying.
Danny Lewis says he can see him go back to 4-2-3-1 next season. He wanted to get Ma in the team as soon as he was ready, and he didn't want to drop Smith either, so he was accommodating both.
And we've got no wingers, and he wants to play McAtee with a 3 in midfield. So he sort of stumbled across it by accident, didn't he? But he won't want to start next season with 3 at the back. He just won't.
Haley says, thank you. Hope to see you down there. Yes, it will be presented to us. That's amazing. Get down to Blundell Park, 23rd. The women are going to be presented with their trophy for winning the league. Damien Smith says, it's in the warm-up today. Some of the players were scoring some good goals, and I'd stick with Max in goal. He just needs the support behind him. All the players can have a bad few games, but he can't take all the blame. That's directed solely at Sam and Sam only. Ollie says Liam's content could get us bigger players if they see the crowd through them. Agreed. I think Liam's content's brilliant for that, and we need to put it all together, get him doing something on it. Because I especially when we win, it's the one thing I look forward to watching after this, and then my town week is done. Tackleberry says I keep expecting Taylor to be sent off every game. Yeah, I thought he was going to go today. Word on the official today, he was a twat, wasn't he?
He was awful, and we've had some bloody awful officials this season. The guy in the home game to Sutton, the guy at Gillingham, the guy in the Walsall home game, they all stand out as being but this guy topped it a lot for me. He didn't have a Scooby. It took him 30 seconds to award a free kick either way. He was random. He missed the clearest save that when he tipped Glennon's free kick onto the bar. He gave us nothing. He booked 6 of our players and none of theirs. He just didn't have a clue. I was getting, even my dad sort of like to calm down. I was getting really, really frustrated with him. I mean, if he fouls, if he fouls Clifton on the edge of the box, right, that's a red card, irrespective of it's because he's fouled him and Clifton's going to roll it into the net. I mean, word on the street was it was a penalty anyway. But how if the keeper's fouling Clifton on the edge of the box? Is that not a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity? The mind boggles. Sorry, Bruce, I was ranting off. Saw your hand.
There were a couple of players around it at the time. I can see. I yelled for a red card, but I can see why he gave a yellow. And he did get booked for that, so they did get a booking. John Tonda didn't point that out on Humber's side.
The only other game is sorry.
In fairness, Bruce, that John Tonda's never let facts get in the way of a narrative about a poor referee.
Well, anyway, you just pulled the same fact out. So, but you haven't mentioned the Stonewall penalty that they should have had in the first half.
Which one was that? That was
absolute Stonewall.
Hugely.
How they didn't go mental. I think he gave a corner, and all I can imagine is the player who got absolutely scythed down. It was very similar, opposite end of the area, but it was very similar to the rash tackle at Crawley. And it really was. Was it Mar or it was Mar or Morris that dived in?
It was Green today, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was Green today. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh well, it was. Yeah, well, sorry, but it was an absolute. He never got anywhere near the ball.
This is what I mean about This is what I mean. He was just rubbish. It wasn't like he was favouritised, although I was alluding to that with the yellow card situation. He was just rubbish. He just didn't have a clue.
I'm just trying to work it out. So the only other game he has refed us in was the Stockport game, which we won 3-1. So in 2 games he has refed us in. He has booked us. I mean, he did send off a Stockport player that day. He's booked 10 of our players in 2 games.
But you say we've won both games?
Yeah. You want him back?
There we go.
He could easily have sent off Kieran Green as well at Stockport. He was on a yellow and he chucked the ball away very, very clearly into our fans. So maybe we've been a little bit harsh on him.
He's a bellend. He's a parking attendant. The important word Bruce used was win. We never consolidated. Come on, steps change needed. I don't know which. Sorry, I don't really know where that was in, Richard. Our back 4 next season: Glennon, Mar, Waterfall, Afete, 100%, 4-2-3-1. A Tory, a footballer in Ibiza. What could go wrong? Well, I mean, it depends on what sort of boat Sam tries to get back on. I think that would be the problem. Top 3 worst, Daniel Lewis is saying. You haven't seen a boat, have you? Is that what you're shouting at? Green tackle was a pen as well. Missed that. Yeah, that was what you were saying. Referee was shocking today. I agree with Sam. Green smashed him big time. He really did. And I don't think ours was a penalty. GTFC Fanalytics was trying to show us a still of when it was, but the contact didn't look like it was in the box or if there was any contact at all. I don't know if you guys saw it from your angle, but from my side, it didn't look like there might have been much contact. Anyway, Sam could use the barge to get back. That barge is not going. The barge is not going anywhere, Ollie. That thing, if it moves, it just disintegrates. Let's be entirely honest. I might upset Dan saying that.
It's the only pub in town where you feel pissed when you're sober.
Yeah, it is.
You walk
the more
in,
you drink,
you're like that, sort of on the slosh.
Oh, do you know what? It'd be really interesting. I haven't been in the barge for years. It'd be interesting to see if it's leaning more. But I think it's the only place that when you drink, the more you drink, the more, upright everything becomes. It's the only place where your walking improves.
Alex, I was in it Friday night, and to be fair, it's not leaning more, but the little ramp to get up, you feel like your foot's going to go through that now.
I need to take Charlie onto it because it's such an institution. I had my first beer there. I was 14. Yeah, amazing. I'll take Charlie in 5 years. Ben says it is leaning more. Last time I was in there was a sign that says even saying so. What, that is even leaning even more? I know it says yes, we know it leans. Is it
leaning to the right? If it leaning to the right, I'll be on there like that.
No, it leans to the left. I'm just looking at it. If I'm stood on the barge and I'm looking at the entrance, it's left.
Surely it depends which way you're looking at it from.
Yeah, if it's going backwards, it's leaning right. I
started that one, so I can't really have a pop back.
No, I did that one. So they did some grim play on there the other day. That's mad doing a play on there. That'd be interesting. I'd love to see what Daniel Marsden can send us something with that and show us what happened with it, because that'd be brilliant. I assume they were just doing shots halfway through the play. Is there anything else we need to? Because I'm waffling. Anything else we need to talk about? We've got Mansfield coming up.
You can drink in view of the pitch at Scunthorpe United to get league games next season.
Oh my God, that's such a cool thing. Can you? You can do that in national. All right.
Is that actually right? Are you sure?
I googled it on the way back.
I don't think they do. I thought it was the league below that, because Dulwich Hamlet are not in that league yet.
I saw someone say they were now one league away from being able to take their dog in.
That's well, hang on. I went to Wealdstone away and there was a dog in there.
No, he was playing for town, mate. We were shit that day.
Damien
apparently, I haven't fact checked, but apparently
that's the pod way.
Scunthorpe are now as close in the league pyramid to Grimsby Borough and Cleethorpes Town as they are to Grimsby Town.
No. Hang on. Someone do some Googling on that, will you?
Well, that would be step 8, wouldn't it?
And
we're at step 4. They're at step 6, so they would be step 8.
And they're quite near the top of step 8, are they? I'll be honest, I never pay attention to Cleethorpes results.
Please, someone's got to work that one out.
Doing well recently.
Can I just say as well, I'm really disappointed in Scunny. Like, at least when we were shit and when Lincoln was shit, we were doing well in the 5th tier, so they could, take away our best players and use them and pass them off as their own. They're so shit that even our we can't even look at them to try ripping their players off. The only time we take their players is if they wanted to do something in the bars and do a shift in there. They might earn more.
Well, I don't know. It's a. Are you at all sorry for them? I'm a little bit. 5% of me is deeply, deeply sorry for them.
My mother is a Scunthorpe fan, so I have to deal with it in my family.
Do you know what? There was a beautiful moment. You guys were obviously at the game, but there was a bit, and go try if you can find it. Listen back. It says, "Oh, when we welcome the Scunthorpe fans onto our commentary," And as they did that, we scored our second. Just imagine being a Scunny fan listening. And you haven't even had a chance to listen to the players or, take it in. You get shunted to the next commentary. And all it is Town scoring against another one of your rivals.
Will the Humberside commentary stop next year?
Well, that's what I'm joking. I think it will keep going, but I don't think it should. North Ferriby didn't get it.
Yeah, but you disappear. You don't get any. You're not on Jeff Stelling. You're not on BBC Goal Alert. You don't have a kind of like a page of your own on BBC Sport. You can't even access the table on Sky Sports. I don't think. Once you're in national, you disappear. Them getting to the first round of the FA Cup, like us getting to the third,
or the quarterfinal, which we did. Bruce, have we finished? Have we finished? Do Scunny get National League? No, they don't, Ben. I don't think. I think they might be able to do their own thing now, though. Just Gary on a camera.
What for their 6 fans? They had to get a Cockney. They had to get a Cockney to talk about to be a Scunthorpe fan on the on Humberside on the way home. That's how low they are on supporters.
That guy was good though. I enjoyed him. Daniel Lewis says, "Fuck 'em." Well said. And then Damien doing his best to try and pull it back to town-related things. What's your view on the Mansfield game on Saturday? Sam doesn't have one. Hannah, any thoughts? Oh, Bruce has got one. We're at home. Good.
Yeah.
Should we bother?
Hopefully
Probably not.
We're at home Tuesday as well, aren't we? Next Tuesday, I think.
A week on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a free week this week, haven't we? Well, Tuesday's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. We're at home. Yeah, we're at home twice, aren't we?
Yeah, 3 of the next 4 games are at home, aren't they? Because then we're at Tranmere the following Saturday, and then we're at home to Crewe on the Tuesday afterwards. The game that should have been played the weekend Queenie died.
Yes, in September.
we've only got one more. We've only got one more Saturday home game.
Because last one's on bank on a Monday. Again, basically as a result of Queenie's demise.
2 Tuesday nights and a Monday. That's it.
Right.
2 away games.
I might do Stevenage this year.
No, because there's no point going to Dorking to watch Scuddy get relegated now, is there, Alex? Since they've already gone.
Yeah, I know. I was very tempted by that. It's not far away at all.
Just wave bye-bye. Like the Tranmere fans did to us that day at Prenton Park when we got relegated. Cheerio.
Oh God, I remember that. Do you know what? Tranmere's ground is about a 10-minute walk from my mum's house, and I've never done it, so I might have to try and do it this season. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Anything else to say? Bruce has got something.
I'd wait till next year for Tranmere, mate. I think my away days for the season are done. Tranmere Maisie's at that's the weekend that Hayley was talking about, isn't it? For the women's game, the 22nd, 23rd.
I'll do that instead.
Maisie's we're at Butlins with Maisie's Cleethorpes Town Girls. So God knows what sort of parents' event that'll be like. I don't know who's taking the kids to the tournament on the Sunday. But
all I can imagine is Stephen Mulhern being put on a pole and roasted over an open fire.
Yeah, it's a possibility. And then the other one's Stevenage, isn't it? 29th, isn't it, Sam? I think.
Yeah, and we got Wimbledon at home.
And that's it. And then it'll be a wrap. And then then the rumours will start big time, won't they? We'll all be hanging out for everything. Just in the summer, everything just seems so slow. Like you wait, it comes to sort of the first week in May, don't you? And the season finishes, and sometimes you're glad for a couple of weeks, and then you're like, when are the fixtures out? And it's like June, the middle of June or something, and you're like, oh, that's another month.
Yeah, but imagine. Can't you remember with the conference though how far away those fixture releases were? It was like
November, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. We'd already played 3 of the games. We just arranged them ourselves.
But yeah, so no, the summer's on its way, and we'll. I think it's going to be an interesting one, but I still think we might need to be a little bit patient, which we don't find easy.
But even so, Hurst's best signings historically come when he can sign him at the start of a window. Liam Hearn was early doors. Omar Bogle was early doors. McAtee was early doors. Pods Hammond was early doors. I'm not saying it's without exception, but
I agree.
He knows. He will know now who he wants. And
hopefully, a couple of deals are already done.
Yeah.
He's going to Australia for 3 weeks on the 10th of May, isn't he?
Was he what? Is he going to go scout the A-League?
There'll be no announcements for the next 3 weeks because Paul Hurst's gone on holiday. Oh, bollocks.
And just poor sod on the admin. Just has to do the mandated Carabao advert, and there's just 35 replies of everyone just sign a fucking striker.
Announce a striker. Yeah.
There's me with my Bogle chant.
Yeah.
Done. We're done. And do you know what? Thank you all. Go on that poll if you're a season ticket holder. Give us your thoughts. Give us our flag back. That's still not come back.
I think that's gone, mate. I think
it's dead. I know.
There's a homeless guy in Southampton wrapped in it, though, that loves it, and he's very grateful.
It's going to be on one of those little boats. Just as a massive flag on the back. Hannah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Bruce, thank you. And
Cheers,
Cronenberg, thank you as well. And Sam, always a pleasure. Safe journey back. We shall see you all very soon.
Take care.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
They've done it! They've done it! It's Maguire Drew! They've done it again, this team!
What a magnificent piece of football! Really, really good goal. You can't legislate for that. Grimsby are heading back to the Football League.
Love it.